Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, classmates. Now we will talk about Newton's life. Revolutionary, mathematician, English physicist, and philosopher Sir Isaac Newton, perhaps the most influential scientist, was born on December 25, 1642, in Woolsthorpe, Lincolnshire. Newton went his way to school carrying tables and cleaning Voltaire's students' room. He went at the University of Cambridge Trinity College, where he will eventually earn a professorship. In 1665, during the Great Plague, Cambridge shut down, and Newton returned home. In 1665 to 1666, he entered his age of invention. He conceived his method of fluxions, laid the foundation for his theory of light and color, and achieved significant insight into the problem of planetary motion. In 1672, Newton sent a brief exposition of his theory of colors to the Royal Society in London. Its appearance in the Royal Society's philosophical transactions led to a number of criticisms that confirmed his fear of publication, and he subsequently withdrew as much as possible into the solitude of his Cambridge study. In 1667, Newton returned to Cambridge, where he succeeded Isaac Barrow as Location Professor of Mathematics. With this appointment, Newton was able to proceed with his optical researches, and in 1672, he released his public paper, a very controversial study on the nature of color. Once his mother died in 1678, Newton fled from the real world and into his alchemical research, rigorous investigations into the hidden forces of nature. Newton's alchemical studies opened the door to theoretical studies as compared to mechanical studies. While the mechanical philosophy reduced all phenomena to the impact of matter in motion, the alchemical tradition upheld the possibility of attraction and repulsion at the particulate level. His studies led him to transforming the mechanical philosophy, the new addition of gravitational force. In 1684, some of Newton's colleagues, Robert Hooke, Edmund Halley, and Christopher Wren, came to Newton because they were struggling with the question of what type of curve does a planet describe in its orbit around the Sun. Newton knew the answer. Of course, an ellipse, because he had already calculated it. Later that year, Newton decided to develop this idea in his De Motu, and 2 years later, he produced his Naturalis Principia Mathematica, one of the most important books published in the history of science. After his publication of his Principia, Newton was elected to represent Cambridge in Parliament, where he became acquainted with John Locke. However, with the increased amount of stress, controversy, and overall suffering from mercury poison from his alchemical research, Newton left Cambridge for London due to his appointment as Stewardess and Master of the Mint. In 1704, he was elected as a president of the Royal Society, and he published his second major work, The Optics, which explained his theories in detail. Until his death in 1727, Newton was able to exercise his power and influence in science due to his position as president in the Royal Society. He published Flamsteed's astronomical observations and sought to perfect Leibniz's works on the calculus. He quoted, "I do not know what I may appear to the world, but to myself I seem to have been only like a boy, playing on the seashore, and diverting myself now and then in finding a smoother pebble or prettier shell than ordinary, while the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me."